day. It's such a beautiful day in the neighborhood. The birds are chirping, lawnmower cutting, barbecue burning, dead animals. It's such a beautiful day. It's such a beautiful day. It's such a beautiful day in the neighborhood. The sun is shining, flowers are blossoming, snotty little kids waking up their parents. It's such a beautiful day. It's such a beautiful day. It's such a beautiful day in the neighborhood. The birds are chirping, lawnmowers cutting, barbecue burning, dead animals. It's such a beautiful day. It's such a beautiful day. It's such a fishing day. It's such a wonderful day. It's such a beautiful day. It's such a gorgeous day. It's such a happy day. It's such a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Beautiful. It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's a beautiful, very warm day. I'm outside in the patio, not wearing too much. I thought I'd be cold, but I'm not cold.
Yes, that is not too much.
Yeah.
I am Michael, and this is my emotional support clown.
Marta, and we hope you all had a good weekend. We did. It's pretty warm here, but it was a nice weekend. Oh, we forgot to go to the pool.
Yeah, so hot we forgot to go to the pool. We took Friday off. If you didn't know we were taking Friday off, well, you must not be on our Facebook page. You know, look for Widdershins Radio on Facebook and get on our Facebook page. That's one of the places we make the announcement when we take the day off. But typically we're here Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then Tuesday night, 5 p.m. for the regular Widdershins show. Yeah.
The original. The mothership. Widdershins is the mothership.
Let's see. So over the weekend, the big thing was that there's at least a second whistleblower coming forward in the impeachment thing.
I've heard more details about one in particular where they say this person has actually does have first-hand information, so they can't bitch about this, second-hand information crap that they're trying to change the law. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, so they're talking about this one more than the rest of them, but I think there's more than one. And the attorney that's representing the first whistleblower with the second-hand information says he's representing all of them. So there's one or two dudes out there. Yeah, he said multiple whistleblowers.
Yeah. I was driving with my kid the other day, listening to the news like I usually do, and they go, why are they so worked up about some guy playing a whistle? Yeah, kids. So, well, the thing I don't get, throughout all this thing, Republicans like to go on about secondhand information and hearsays never admissible in court. But I don't know. Maybe on their TV they didn't see Giuliani and the president admit to everything that the whistleblowers said they did, and maybe they didn't see the memo written by Trump admitting that he did all that.
And then when they released the notes from the call, it backed everything that the whistleblower said. So I fail to understand how they can criticize secondhand information, whatever, like what he said is what transpired in the call. And then, so the second whistleblower, like I said, supposedly has firsthand information, but Trump just decided, he's going to lie about it, and he said something about, they have another whistleblower with more secondhand information, and people just believe it. I will always, I'll take this to my grave. I don't understand how people fall for this bullshit.
Bullshit's an excellent word. Yeah, the GOP people are not stupid. They're using the word hearsay as a weapon, but they saw what we saw. They are not just watching Fox News. And even, I think on Fox News, we still saw the memo. You still saw Giuliani admitting it. You still saw the president admit it. Everything the whistleblower, for hearsay, it's really fucking accurate hearsay, turns out. But so, when hearsay's been admitted to, I don't know. I think they should be accepting it, but that just shows what bullshit it is.
It shows that these politicians are putting their party before their country. Even though all of them will spew to you that it's country before party, but they're not doing that. Like, they don't care how bad it gets as long as their dude stays in office. They don't care.
So I heard, I guess over the weekend, that Trump started tariffs on the European Union, and they're threatening to retaliate. They're really pissed off about it. The trade war isn't just with China. It's pretty much, he's pissing everybody off.
And already, we can't find our favorite butter.
And Bailey's. You can't get Bailey's because those are the tariffs on the European Union. Ireland got hit really hard.
Yeah, so we were looking for our butter. What is it, Carrie? I know what
it's like this Irish butter
package looks like, but we love that butter, and we went to Trader Joe's that sells that butter. They didn't have the butter. The struggle is real, people. Yeah,
good thing we weren't looking for Bailey's. Well, I think Trader Joe's has their own brand of Bailey's, so yeah.
Well,
but if we wanted real Bailey's,
and I know how to make it, so I'm not as disturbed by the Bailey's thing, just because it's Irish cream is pretty easy to make, and I've made it before. But I'm sorry, I'm not at the point where I'm churning my own butter. That's too much. No, I shouldn't. Well, okay, when are you going to start brewing? Yeah, we could, but will we?
Yes.
Okay.
We will.
You heard it here, folks.
Are you going to churn butter? Because that'd be hot.
Yeah, maybe I'll make some cheese or something.
All right, so somehow that's less hot. I don't know why. Because it's cheese.
It's the cheesiest. Okay.
Oh, there's a whistleblower. Oh! I wanted to play this. Let me see if I can find my sound bite, because this guy had it.
High-tech sound system.
Yeah, for our high-tech sound system. Oh, gonna have to play it and let the commercial run first. But I think Fox even had to comment on this latest one. I think this guy references it in his rant. Trump's saying that he's not. It's not about Biden. He's not specifically.
It's not about politics.
It's not about politics. He doesn't care about politics. It's about corruption. All of a sudden, Trump is, he wants to root out corruption. And China, something bad.
Yeah. He cares so much about corruption that he's asking for help from Ukraine and China.
Now that you've got to understand the two probably corruptest places, and Russia. Russia's probably the other most corrupt place, but he's already getting help from them. So here's a reality check from CNN. Check this out.
Donald Trump trying to reframe his re-election around being an anti-corruption crusader.
Everything to me is about corruption. I don't care about Biden's campaign, but I do care about corruption. What I want to do, and I think I have an obligation to do it, probably a duty to do it, corruption. We are looking for corruption.
Okay, that takes brass. I mean, this is a guy who's been called the most corrupt person ever to run for the presidency. A guy whose charitable foundation was shut down after an investigation by the New York Attorney General found that it was engaging in a, quote, shocking pattern of illegality. He's the only president in decades to refuse to release his tax returns, with the Justice Department involved in the effort to make sure they stay secret. And the only president to refuse to divest themselves from their business interests, something even Jimmy Carter felt honor-bound to do with his peanut farm. Instead, he's hyped his businesses from the White House, pushing his Doral Golf Resort for the next G7 summit, while Republicans forked over more than $3 million at Trump properties during the midterms, when foreign governments routinely do business there. Not only that, he's cozied up to dictators and autocrats from North Korea to Russia to Egypt. So combating corruption is not exactly an area where he's got core credibility. So why is he doing this? Well, he already admitted to asking a foreign power to investigate a political rival who's beating him in most 2020 polls. So the initial strategy of denial doesn't work anymore. So now it's an anti-corruption initiative. Of course, the real strategy is deflect and project. Leave folks thinking that everyone is corrupt. It's not true, and this isn't normal. Here's just a taste of why the strategy going after the Biden family for corruption is a sign that, as Fox put it, irony is dead. The Trump family is reportedly still making foreign deals despite the president's promise not to. For example, Ivanka Trump has been granted 16 new trademarks from the Chinese government, including one for voting machines, while she worked in the White House. Ivanka also released financial statements showing that she made $3.9 million in 2017 from the Trump Hotel in Washington. That's just part of the $82 million haul she made along with her husband, fellow White House staffer Jared Kushner, who the New York Times reports paid little or no federal taxes for years. But you know what? Let's take President Trump at his word, a risky proposition I know, and say that his administration is uniquely committed to combating corruption around the world. Well, if that's the case, it's worth asking why they've proposed cutting the budget devoted to fighting corruption by 40%, and the amount dedicated to combating international organized crime by 75%. If you want to find the truth, follow the money. And the Trump administration's own budget suggests that combating corruption isn't a priority. It's almost as if this whole thing is a political stunt designed to distract from the obvious. Donald Trump doesn't really care about corruption at all. And that's your reality check.
All right, now, a lot of that we knew. And, people want to, Fox, if you listen to Fox, they're going to call CNN the fake news. But then when I listen to Fox, they don't have any facts, and CNN does. Those are all facts that you can prove everything about everyone in his family. You can look this shit up. But what I want to touch on is, first of all, Ivanka getting 16 patents from the Chinese government, and one is voting machines. Did you hear that? Ivanka Trump voting machines made in China. Well, I guess they've shown the power of voting machines and what you can do with them and how much money you can make off of the voting machines, putting you in office. Maybe we need to go back and look at the voting machines again, too. Actually, we did find that hardware was corrupted in many voting machines, and we found voting machines that had chips embedded in them from the Chinese companies where they could go online. And voting machines were not supposed to be online. I mean, this is just some of the crap that came out during Russia Gate and all this other stuff. We know of so much corruption, so much cheating, and yes, we do know of hacks on voting machines, hacks at the factory where they were made. Now, Ivanka Trump's over there at the factory getting patents for the Ivanka voting machine. I don't know. So what was this thing you were talking about there, clown to the right of me?
I'm always going on and on about there's something called the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Oh, God, yes, you are.
And basically, it's this phenomenon where the more incompetent somebody is, the more competent they think they are. And the people who are actually competent are the ones that have some doubts. And so basically, in essence, it's like when you're too stupid to know how stupid you are. And I'm always talking about that. And I just stumbled on a story in Psychology Today. It's not a news story. It was written August 2018, so it's about a year old. But other people study this, so I'm just gonna read this article. Headline says, "The Dunning-Kruger effect may help explain Trump's support." Subhead, "A new study suggests some people grossly overestimate their political knowledge." In the past, some prominent psychologists have explained President Donald Trump's unwavering support by alluding to a well-established psychological phenomenon known as the Dunning-Kruger effect. The effect is a type of cognitive bias where people with little expertise or ability assume they have superior expertise or ability. This overestimation occurs as a result of the fact that they don't have enough knowledge to know that they don't have enough knowledge. This simple but loopy concept has been demonstrated dozens of times in well-controlled psychology studies and in a variety of contexts. However, until now, the effect had not been studied in one of the most obvious and important realms, political knowledge. A new study, so remember, this story is a year old, so this is new for last year. A new study published in the journal Political Psychology carried out the political scientist Ian Anson at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, not only found that the Dunning-Kruger effect applies to politics, but it also appears to be exacerbated when partisan identities are made more salient. In other words, those who score low on political knowledge tend to overestimate their expertise even more when greater emphasis is placed on political affiliation. Anson told Anson told SciPost that he became increasingly interested in the effect after other academics were discussing its potential role in the 2016 U.S. presidential election on social media. In order to have a large and representative sample of subjects, Dr. Anson administered online surveys to over 2,600 Americans. The first survey was designed to assess political knowledge, while the second was used to examine how confident they were in their knowledge. Questions quizzed participants on topics like names of cabinet members, the length of term limits for members of Congress, and the names of programs that the U.S. government spends the least on. As predicted, the results showed that those who scored low on political knowledge were also the ones to overestimate their level of knowledge. But that wasn't all. When participants were given cues that made them engage in partisan thought, the Dunning-Kruger effect was made even stronger. This occurred with both Republicans and Democrats, but only in those who scored low on political knowledge to begin with. These findings are fascinating but also troubling. How do you combat ignorance when the ignorant believe themselves to be knowledgeable? Even worse, how do you fight it when America is becoming increasingly polarized, which certainly increased the salience of partisan identities? While the results of Anson's study suggest that being uninformed leads to overconfidence across the political spectrum, studies have shown that Democrats now tend to be more educated than Republicans, possibly making the latter more vulnerable to the Dunning-Kruger effect. In fact, a Pew Research poll released in March of last year, found that 54% of college graduates identified as Democrats or leaned Democratic, compared to 39% who identified or leaned Republican. This effect may help explain why certain Trump supporters seem to be so easily tricked into believing proven falsehoods when the president delivers what have become known as alternative facts, often using language designed to activate partisan identities. Because they lack knowledge but are confident that they do not, they may be less likely than others to actually fact-check the claims that the president makes. This speculation is supported by evidence from empirical studies. In 2016, an experiment found that 45% of Republicans believed that the Affordable Care Act included death panels. And a 2015 study similarly found that 54% of Republican primary voters believed then-President Barack Obama to be a Muslim. The Dunning-Kruger effect is particularly worrisome when considering issues that pose existential threats, like global warming. A 2017 study conducted at the University of New Hampshire, for instance, found that only 25% of self-described Trump supporters believe that human activities contribute to climate change, although 97% of scientists who study climate change agree that they do. This quirky cognitive bias could potentially be making it easier for Donald Trump to deliver unchallenged falsehoods to his more uneducated followers. In some cases, not only are these individuals uninformed, they are unlikely to try and become more informed on their own. In their minds, they have nothing new to learn. While such a thought is disturbing, we should not lose all hope in trying to reach the victims of the Dunning-Kruger effect. At least one study found that incompetent students increased their ability to accurately estimate their class rank after being tutored in the skills they lacked. With the right education methods and a willingness to learn, the uninformed on both sides of the political aisle can gain a meta-awareness that can help them perceive themselves more objectively. Unfortunately, Anson's study shows that getting through to people becomes more and more difficult as the nation becomes more divided. And with Trump's fiery rhetoric and fear-mongering, that divide appears to be growing wider. And this is the problem. They think that they know what's what, and he tells all these lies. They don't bother to check, and they believe it, and we just keep going and going and going down the rabbit hole because of this phenomenon.
Hey, honey, you know how we do that thing where I'll be in another room or something posting on Facebook and we'll say the exact same thing at the same time?
Yeah.
Well, you and Lisa Schofield did it. She was in the chat room right about the time you said it. Dunning-Kruger is when you're too stupid to know how stupid you are. She said the same thing that you were just about to say. Hello, Mystic Diana. What was I going to say about the... Oh, yeah, I always get in arguments with Trump supporters, and this guy was saying...
That's why they believe Pizzagate.
Pizzagate. Well, and what's the latest thing? The Democrats worship a pagan god Moloch, who's known for child sacrifice.
Yes.
And they'll believe it. They'll believe it.
They already know everything that there is to know, so why fact check it?
Yeah. Even though, Trump was buddies with the pedophile guy, Epstein, somehow he's not implicated in Pizzagate and stuff. So I'm arguing with this guy, and he said, well, the Democrats can try and impeach Trump on a bunch of lies, but it won't work. And I just said, does your TV, does your TV show you different stuff? Did you not see Giuliani and the president admit to it? Did you not see the note? Like I was saying earlier at the beginning of this show, that was an actual argument I was in. I don't know how he responded to that, but I'm sure it's just going to be, some Republican talking points. They've gotten the point where the people are all repeating the talking points too. It's like it used to be something just politicians used, but now it's, all the Trump supporters using the talking points.
And like I said, this story was written a year ago talking about how increasingly this country is becoming divided. And now, a year later, I would say that it's even worse than it was a year ago, I think.
It's idiocracy. Yeah. Remember Idiocracy? They had open carry. All those dudes were in the chambers. Yeah, one dude fired off a fucking AK, and then President Camacho fired off his. And, that's kind of how they got politics done. They all had guns. But Idiocracy's a documentary. It was a prophecy. A prophecy of what we will become. Yep.
And 1984 is also real. It's no longer fiction.
Oh, God, yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Where, I don't remember the word for word exact quote, but that's where they tell him don't believe what you see with your own eyes. Just believe what we tell you. Something to that effect. And that's pretty much happening. We all saw the same summary of that phone call. Why are there so many varying analyses of it? I don't understand. He said he didn't do it, and then we saw that he did do it. Okay, he said he didn't do it, and then we saw that he did do it, and now that he's saying it's okay that he did it. And it's always the same trajectory. And I called it days, when this first came out, I said, when it becomes obvious that he did do something that he's denying, he's going to backpedal and say that he has every right to do it. That's how narcissists operate. All of them do the same exact thing. Or they were just kidding.
Yeah. Now,
actually, one guy did say, some Republican, I don't remember who, some representative. Was it? No, it wasn't Rubio. Somebody else. Someone I'm not familiar with. But maybe Rubio said it too, but I'm thinking about somebody else that they said that he didn't mean it when he said it. When he called on China to... Yeah, that's Rubio. But maybe, like I said, maybe Rubio said it too. But some other guy went on Fox, I think it was Fox, and said, or maybe it was MSNBC, I don't remember, but he went on the air and said that, we've been watching Trump for a couple years now, and we should know by now how the man communicates, and that, obviously, he didn't mean it. Really? He was joking.
He misspoke. So he lost the battle to keep his tax returns secret.
Yes.
I don't know, in this day and age.
He tried really hard he sued the city of New York, like a countersuit, because they were suing to get his tax returns, and a judge turned him down, sided with New York, and he has to show 8 years worth of taxes. And he tried really hard to hide it, so I'm kind of interested in seeing what's all in there.
Let's talk about this has to. Why does he have to? It's just a court order. We don't have to follow court orders or subpoenas or anything of the kind anymore. So he lost a fucking court case that's probably going to amount to nothing.
Okay, so at the end of the day, who gets to decide that all this crap is illegal and that you have to follow a subpoena and a court order? Like, who's the ultimate authority on all that? If the president's not responding to subpoenas and Pompeo's not responding to subpoenas and, all these people, and they're just not doing it, and once again, we're giving our turkey away. So, who gets to decide enough?
I'll give you two guesses.
The Pope?
No.
The Supreme Court?
Maybe it ultimately might get there. I believe it's Barr.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Barr's also not paying attention. He's doing it the same thing, though.
I know. So Barr's the guy that decides all this shit, and Barr's corrupt, and Barr's in Trump's pocket, and Barr's all the stuff that's supposed to happen. So yeah, it's a fucking shit show circus.
So nothing happens.
Just like now.
Ignore everything.
And I want to remind people, it is Barr that stated that it is the policy not to indict a sitting president. But my research, as I've talked about on this show recently, is that Bill Clinton was indicted as a sitting president. He took a plea bargain the day after he left office. He was he was in court or indicted for about 2 years. So 2 years with 2 years left of his term, sitting president was indicted. So I don't know when they changed the rules. When Barr made it up, I think that's when they changed the rules. When fucking Barr decided that his buddy Trump could not be indicted. And I want to remind the American people, because we forget sometimes, that when Mueller was asked that if Trump was not a sitting president, could he be indicted? And his answer without hesitation was absolutely. Absolutely. That means the man is absolutely a criminal. And the only reason he's not indicted is because of those rules that aren't actually rules and don't actually exist.
And meanwhile, they accuse the Democrats of changing the whistleblower rules, saying that they changed it from first hand to second hand. And so that's the thing. Everything that they accuse us of, you can be sure that they are doing it. Everything. Fake news, they're doing it. Changing the rules at the last minute, they're doing it.
Well, and to illustrate your point about the Freddy Krueger effect, Trump has been calling for Adam Schiff to be impeached for treason, and now Mitt Romney, because Mitt Romney disagreed with him and criticized him, so it's treason now. to criticize the president, and he called he hold on. He called for God damn it, who were we just talking about? Mitt Romney to be impeached. And now there's a petition that's gone viral apparently by his supporters to impeach Pelosi. Now, these are the people that have no knowledge of politics and think that they have all the knowledge of politics. Senators, members of the House, are not impeachable. I believe they could be recalled. There's other things that be done, but they're not impeachable. You know who's impeachable? Supreme Court justices are impeachable. And we find that they lied under oath later, even after they're on the bench, they can be impeached.
And I didn't read the story, but I saw a headline this morning saying that Elizabeth Warren has plans for Brett Kavanaugh if she wins the election. That's enough reason to vote for her right there.
Absolutely. He I mean, look at that one too. You know, the obstructions of justice by the Department of Justice and Trump to support their fucking man. I mean, this is the way we do business now. You obstruct, you delay, you don't turn over paperwork. I am, and I know I say this every fucking day. Congress needs to start using their enforcement powers, and they need to break out their little police force. I didn't even know about that. I didn't have political knowledge about that, but the House has their own police force, and they can just send them on over. I don't know if they need the Justice Department's approval for that. It seems like a House-governed enforcement body. They can just go over and arrest people for not honoring subpoenas and shit, and they really need to do that because it's become the new normal that doesn't fucking matter. So remember, you don't have to show up for jury duty or anything anymore.
That I was going to say, so what does that say about everybody else? Anytime anybody else gets subpoenaed, they're going to be like, whatever, whatevs. Our own president doesn't follow subpoena orders. Why should I?
And you don't have to show my taxes either.
Let's make America great again by not following subpoenas. Hell, let's just not pay our taxes.
Going in and out. Huh. I don't see it. The microphone seems to be working. Somebody said that we're cutting in and out. I don't know. Let me just check here really quickly. Spreaker.com/user/Wittershins. You are listening to this Beautiful Day show, and I am listening to us. Let's see. Let me see. Let me just check here really quickly. Spreaker.com/user/Wittershins. You are listening to this Beautiful Day show. Oh, no. Well, it's not cutting out on my end, so I'm not sure what that is. If everybody experienced that, maybe it was a net lag or something like that. I don't see a bad connection or anything like that. Microphone seems to be working well. We are going to take a short musical break and we'll be back. Why is it not? What the hell is going on there?
Well, you tried it just for once, found it alright for kicks. But now you find out that it's a habit that sticks, and you're an orgasm addict. You're an orgasm addict. Sneaking in the back door with dirty magazines. So your mother wants to know what all the stains on the jeans. And you're an orgasm addict. You're an orgasm addict. You're getting the heat, you're getting assault, but you still keep a beat and you meet to pulp, and you're an orgasm addict. son of the nuclear A-bomb. I am the world's forgotten boy, the one who searches and destroys. Honey, gotta help me, please. Somebody gotta save my soul. Baby, detonate for me. Oh! Look out, honey, 'cause I'm using technology. Ain't got time to make no apologies. So radiation in the dead of night, love in the middle of a firefight. Wanna gotta strike me blind. Somebody gotta save my soul. Baby, better take my mind. And I'm the world's forgotten boy, the one who's searching to destroy. And honey, I'm the world's forgotten boy, the one who's searching only to destroy. Hey! Look out, honey, 'cause I'm using technology. Ain't got time to make no apology. So radiation in the dead of night, love in the middle of a firefight. Honey, gotta strike me blind. Somebody gotta save my soul. Baby, better take my mind. And I'm the world's forgotten boy, the one who's searching to destroy. And honey, I'm the world's forgotten boy, the one who's searching to destroy. Forgotten boy, forgotten boy.
Iggy Pop on Wittershin Radio. I'm gonna play the show on my phone and make sure that we're okay. Iggy Pop's still playing on my phone, so let's see. I want to make sure the microphone's not cutting out. People seem to be, but I'm not sure if we are. Hear me talking. Yeah, sounds good. Playing the Pop's still playing on my phone, so let's see. I want to make sure the microphone's not cutting out. All right. See, I don't know. I had a couple people that couldn't hear us, and then I went and I listened, and I could. So whatever it was, hopefully it's fixed. You're tuned to It's a Beautiful Day, and it is a beautiful day. And I wanted to, before we get into that story, let's see. What was that? Okay, well, first of all, waiting for the distraction, waiting for Trump to try and distract us from all this, and then, sure enough, he did it. He's going to...
Well, the only good thing about this is that a lot more Republicans are really pissed off.
Well, I didn't tell him what it was yet. He's pulling our troops out of Syria, while Turkey's poised to invade and slaughter the Kurds, and everybody says it's going to be genocide.
And his own party is really, really pissed off. Maybe this will be the final push, because they're all saying that it was an impulsive decision. He didn't think it out. I mean, who wants somebody like that to run our country and, be the commander-in-chief of the military? Maybe it'll take something like this to get them all on board.
What was that, the infinite wisdom line? That
I don't know if I can find it. It was his more recent tweet, and I'm waiting for it to download. Oh, okay. So I'm going to read it. He tweeted, As I have stated strongly before, and just to reiterate, if Turkey does anything that I, in my great and unmatched wisdom, consider to be off limits, I will totally destroy and obliterate the economy of Turkey. I've done before. They must, with Europe and others, watch over. It cuts off. I don't see the continuation, but whatever. So he said, I, in my great and unmatched wisdom.
I am the great and powerful Oz.
I'm telling you, he thinks he's the state. He thinks everything's up to him. He can do whatever he wants. Any challenge to him is treason against the state. It's ridiculous.
Let me see. They'll talk a little bit about Syria here, but there's CNN. These are always my favorites. Fact checking Trump's tweets over the weekend. So Washington, CNN. In a barrage of tweets over the weekend and Monday morning, President Donald Trump made numerous false claims about presidential candidate Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, whistleblowers, Democratic Rep. Adam Schiff, Syria, and his own approval rating. A photo of Joe Biden. Trump tweeted Sunday of Biden. Sleepy Joe says he never spoke to the Ukrainian company, and then a picture came out when he was playing golf with the company boss and Hunter. Facts first. The photo Trump appears to be referencing does not show Joe Biden playing golf with the company boss of Burisma Holdings, the Ukrainian natural gas company, where his son Hunter Biden was on the board as a member. The person in the photo is an American named Devin Archer, a longtime business associate of Hunter Biden, who's also served on the Burisma board as a board member, not the company boss nor an executive, as previous Trump identified. The fourth person in the photo with Archer and Biden's has not been publicly identified, but he is not the Burisma owner, Mykola Zolochevsky. Hunter Biden. Trump tweeted Sunday that Hunter Biden was handed $100,000 a month plus for his role in Burisma. Facts first. There's no basis for the $100,000 a month plus assertion. New York Times reported that Hunter Biden was paid as much as $50,000 per month in some months for his role on the board of directors of Burisma Holdings. The whistleblowers. Trump tweeted Saturday, the first so-called second-hand information whistleblower got my phone conversation almost completely wrong. So now word is that they're going to the bench, and another whistleblower is coming in from the deep state, also with second-hand info. Facts first. The first whistleblower's account.
So that's what I say. He is saying the second one also has second-hand info, even though everything we've seen says that they have first-hand info.
Yep. The first whistleblower's account of the call was mostly accurate, not almost completely wrong. In fact, the rough transcript released by Trump himself showed that the whistleblower's three primary allegations about the call were correct or very close. In addition, the Inspector General for the Intelligence Committee said the first whistleblower had direct knowledge of certain alleged conduct, along with information the whistleblower was told by others. And the New York Times reported that another person considering becoming a whistleblower has more direct information about the events than the first whistleblower. Not secondhand info, as Trump tweeted. Lawyer Mark Zaid, who represents the first whistleblower, announced Sunday he represents another whistleblower who has firsthand knowledge. The first whistleblower in Schiff. Trump tweeted Sunday Nancy Pelosi knew of all the many shifty Adam Schiff lies and massive frauds perpetrated upon the Congress and the American people in the form of fraudulent speech, knowingly delivered as a ruthless con, and the illegal meetings with highly partisan Now, we read this fucking thing. Schiff was paraphrasing. Schiff said he was paraphrasing. It was not a fake statement. I'm not. I can't. Now, Oh, okay. Here's the thing about him calling for everybody's impeachment. Members of the House are not subject to impeachment, though they can be expelled. The actions of Pelosi and Schiff do not come close to the Constitution's definition of treason, and it is not illegal for the House Intelligence Committee to offer guidance to a potential whistleblower about how to report alleged wrongdoing. Now, interesting thing that I saw. Oh, it was on CNN, so I'm sure it was fake news. But look, it was this little thing about the Constitution and how the framers of the framers of the Constitution specifically put the impeachment clause in there because they worried about our leaders being influenced or being involved with foreign governments. Okay, impeachment was specifically a provision put into the Constitution to combat our leaders working with other governments or being influenced by other governments or being a pawn of, I don't know, Russia, let's say. So our opponents didn't get, like a P-tape on the president or something like that and then be able to, dictate policy and that kind of stuff. So, for the people saying it's not a high crime or misdemeanor, well, the Constitution designated being involved, making shady deals, all these kind of things, as high crimes and misdemeanors. So, being influenced by a foreign government or using your powers to influence another foreign government for your own political gains was a high crime and/or misdemeanor, as stated in the Constitution. But I know they don't read. I know they can't read. Even the GOP seems to, even though they all swore to it, they didn't actually read the pesky Constitution.
Uneducated people.
Yeah. So, a timetable for Syria. Trump tweeted Monday morning about his decision to pull the troops out of northern Syria. The United States was supposed to be in Syria for 30 days. That was many years ago. We stayed and got deeper and deeper into the battle with no aim in sight. Facts first. There was never a specific timetable for the U.S. military involvement in Syria, and there never is, people. That's bullshit. When I heard it, I knew it was bullshit. Much less a timetable of a mere 30 days. Trump has previously claimed 8 times the U.S. involvement was supposed to last 3 months or 4 months. There was never a 30-day timetable on the U.S. presence in Syria, said Syria expert Stephen Heidman, a professor of government and director of Middle East Studies program. The previous administration and officials serving in the administration had never offered a fixed timetable for the U.S. mission. ISIS fighters imprisoned in Syria. Trump tweeted Monday morning that his accomplishments in Syria include capturing thousands of ISIS fighters, mostly from Europe. Facts first. A minority of ISIS fighters captured in Syria are from Europe, not most of them. James Jeffrey, Trump's special envoy to the anti-ISIS coalition, said August 1st that about 8,000 of the 10,000 terrorist fighters being held in northeastern Syria are Iraqi or Syrian nationalists. There are about 2,000 ISIS foreign fighters from all other countries. Trump himself tweeted in February to ask the European unions to take back 800 ISIS fighters captured in Syria. Trump's approval rating. Trump tweeted Sunday, 95% approval rating amongst the Republican Party. Thank you. Facts first. Trump's approval rating amongst Republicans is very high, regularly in the 80s and sometimes creeping into the 90s, but has not seen 95% in any recent poll. Trump's at 88% with Republicans, for example, in a Quinnipiac University poll conducted from September 27th to the 29th. And that's about all from that particular story. But, I seem to recall within the last year, we pulled the majority of our troops out of Syria. And I forget what was going on that Trump needed to distract us from then. I mean, there's so much. But I recall a lot of really bold statements. We're used to that now. But a lot of really bold statements about Trump defeated ISIS. He said, I've defeated ISIS. I've crushed ISIS. Well, the White House says in this other release over here that there's tens of thousands of ISIS fighters still in Syria. They still hold a good chunk of land there. But Trump said he defeated ISIS, started pulling our troops out. Now, apparently, he didn't defeat ISIS. Now, this is really a huge issue, and it's even got some of the Republicans turning against him. This is the kind of shit we've done with the Kurds. This is what we did with the Kurds in Iraq. We got them to fight on our side during the Gulf Wars, and then we left. And we left them to suffer the consequences. We left an intact government. We did it the first time, Desert Storm. We armed the Kurds. We got the Kurds fighting on the northern edge of Iraq. And then we left. And we left the army of Iraq still intact, able to fight, and able to crush the Kurds. This is the entire reason that Osama bin Laden hated us in the fucking first place. He was with the Mujahideen in Afghanistan. And we armed them. This was back during the proxy wars when Russia and the United States, we fought each other all over the globe without actually fighting each other. It was during the Cold War. We used proxy governments, like Vietnam, like North Korea, all this stuff. We were also fighting China, but we were fighting communism. But without any of our actual armies engaging with each other, we get other people to do it. So we arm the Mujahideen because, and we call them freedom fighters because they're fighting Russia. And then we make peace with Russia, and the wall comes down, and we stop sending aid. We stop sending money. Russia's still there. Russia's still able to crush the Mujahideen. So we armed them, we got them involved, we made them allies, and then we bailed. We're doing it again. We're doing it again in the Kurds. Like, why is anybody going to want to join our side? Now, I understand the Kurds, after World War... We had to learn about the Kurds today, so we did some studying. After World War I, the Kurds are kind of like... We were saying like the Arabic Jews. They're like this wandering race without a homeland. I guess kind of like the Palestinians, too. They don't have a homeland, but after World War I, they tried to carve out a homeland, and their homeland is not a country. It's the autonomous region of Kurdistan, and it is partially in Syria, partially in Turkey, partially in Iraq. It's in several countries. It comprises land in several countries, but is their homeland, but not a country. Still is kind of confusing, but you can see how it would be advantageous for the Turks to attack them and take some more land, because everybody's like landlocked and everybody wants access to water. So looking at the map, there's a little piece of Kurdistan it looks like there's a port there, like a port city, and I think that's what Turkey probably wants to take, like the Russians taking Crimea. It was advantageous strategically for them to do that because they needed a place for their ships to park and stuff. So you can see access to the water is probably the piece of land that Turkey's going to try and take from the Kurds. And they're extremely brutal. They're all very brutal over there. I mean, war is fucking brutal anyways, but they're going to slaughter the Kurds. It's everybody is saying it's going to be a mass genocide, and Trump's just pulling on out, and
he's just threatening Turkey in his unquestioned wisdom. If they do anything, he's going to destroy them economically. And
he makes this big bold statement as like, we helped the Kurds out a great deal, but we're going to stop helping now. I was like, we didn't help the Kurds. We got them to fight in a war we were in. It wasn't about helping the Kurds. But I do see on the Kurdistan map, there is this little bubble that goes over the Turkish border that is now, that's their piece of Syria.
I was just going to say the borders of Kurdistan aren't really firm. They're, kind of fluid, always changing. One could almost put them in with a Sharpie.
Yeah, actually, the map that I saw was a red line, pretty much drawn on there. But then you could see the actual borderlines of the other countries. So Kurdistan is this autonomous region, and I think that they have other places where they are, but they've carved out this little homeland, and all the countries around them, want to drive them off that land. It's said in the thing that they're in a very ancient race, the Kurds, but their race is questionable. Their lineage.
I think that's it's not really known. It's not really known where they're originally from.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, I don't know. Maybe DNA tests haven't reached Kurdistan yet, or maybe it's against Muslim law. I think they're Muslims. I don't know. I don't know if the Kurds are Muslims. I mean, it seems like the places that they live, you kind of have to be some sort of Muslim. But then, I don't even understand how it works. You got this Muslims attack those Muslims. I guess like Christians. Christians did that too. These Christians attack those Christians. It's a typical fucking story.
I'm just going to read this CNN headline. Trump's betrayal of the Kurds is a gift to Putin and Assad. Yep.
Now, God, how many gifts? How many gifts you going to give Russia? Now, also, I heard this thing today. Now, Trump's...
I'm sorry. What is the religion of the Kurds? The most widely practiced Kurdish religion is Islam. According to a 2011 study conducted by the Pew Research Center, 98% of Kurds in Iraq identified as Sunni Muslim, while the other two identified as Shiite. Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out, how many are Sunni and how many are Shiite. So Sunni is most of them. Saddam Hussein was a Sunni.
Yeah, there's one other thing. Throughout this entire Ukraine gate bullshit, Trump has been trying to, slowly trying to push forth this narrative, which has been his whole thing now, first about the corruption. But what he's saying is that he wanted the Ukrainians to look into Ukrainian interference in the 2016 election and whether or not Hillary's server was in Ukraine. Her secret server. Trump's secret server is like in the White House or something. But I heard on the news today, they were talking about that. The FBI did an extensive investigation, even hampered, right and left by Trump's people. And not one iota of an accusation of any Ukrainian involvement in the 2016 election interference. But you know who did? You know who did unequivocally? You can't fucking argue about it. Absolutely, all over the documents. Everybody agrees. Many people sitting in prison for their involvement with it. Fucking Russia. Russia interfered with our election. I don't know how many times they have to fucking say that for the fucking Trumpites to fucking hear that. It was every fucking page of the fucking Mueller investigation. Nothing about Ukraine. Nobody about Ukraine. Nobody's ever fucking said anything about Ukraine. And why the fuck would Ukraine have wanted Trump to win? I mean, we know now that Trump's a Nazi and Ukraine seems to be rather anti-Semitic, but still, Trump... Well, they have a lot.
I thought you said pro-Semitic.
Yeah. But what we do know is that Ukraine has been fighting to get to get Russia off their land after Russia invaded it and just took a really nice chunk of it, probably one of the better chunks of it. We do know that happened, and that's really a big deal with Ukraine, and that's why Ukraine and Trump were really talking. It was about arms sales, and now Russia knows exactly what arms were being sold to the... I'm sure they knew anyways, but they know, they see the fucking memo, exactly what missiles we were selling to Ukraine and shit. But nothing. Why would it have been advantageous for somebody that's clearly in Russia's pocket, and we knew this right away? He was on the campaign trail talking about why not get along well with Russia. Wouldn't it be great if we got along with Russia? He was sucking Russia's dick through the entire fucking campaign. Why would Ukraine hack our elections to make Trump win? Now, why Russia would do it to make Trump win is obvious, at least in hindsight. He's Russia's bitch. He's a Russian asset. He's a Russian operative. Everything he does benefits Russia, just like Syria. As I said this last time when we started pulling the troops out of Syria in the fucking first place, he's Russia's bitch. We got anything more to say?
No, and it's 12:01.
Exactly. It's a beautiful day. We're going to go
See you tomorrow.
enjoy it and shit. See you tomorrow.